Opie call his daughter's boyfriend's son, causing the daughter to yell at the former. Did I do something wrong by calling my daughter's boyfriend's son? I, 53M, have a daughter, 25F, who has been dating James, 28M, for 2 years now. Before meeting him, my daughter strictly told me not to mention his dad or any family members to him. He is not close with them. I didn't ask what happened because it was not my place to know. Genuinely, I liked him a lot. He is a good man, responsible, neat, and truly loves my daughter. We bonded well. I only met him a handful of times. This happened a few days ago. My daughter came to visit me along with James. I was fixing my car. James looked curious and asked what I was doing. I showed my car and said that I am fixing it. We go into talking, and he told me he doesn't know how to fix his car. He just pays someone else to do it. I was shocked. I told him I can teach him. He doesn't need to waste his money on fixing basic things. I did teach him all the things. He was a fast learner. After he was done, I patted on his back and said, "Well done, my son." The expression on his face changed. He was happy in 1 second, and then his face changed. He broke down crying on the floor. I tried my best to calm him down, but he was wailing. By the time my daughter came, he was in a fetal position. I was confused. My daughter took him inside. He spent the night. My daughter just took his dinner in her room. She came downstairs and asked what happened. I gave her the details of it. She was angry. She was almost screaming and asked why the hell did I say, "Well done, son?" She specifically told me not to mention anything about his family. I didn't. I just said, "Well done, my son," because that's what you usually say when you're proud of them. I didn't even utter the word father. It just slipped. I said sorry and asked if I could talk to him and apologize. She was pissed and told me to forget it. He is not in good shape. They left early morning. I don't know what I did wrong here. I have been asking my daughter about him, and it was just one-word answers. What do I do? Relevant comments. Absolute scenes. He needs therapy. You did nothing wrong. Opie. According to my daughter, he has been in therapy for 5 years. In and out. Redacted. Your daughter is enabling his crippling mental illness. She'll learn eventually. Opie. I don't think she is enabling. She cares for him a lot. She is going to nursing school like her mother to become a nurse, so that's why she might be freaking out. Update 1 day later. I wanted to post an update on my previous post, but the mods removed my post for God knows why. But then again, the update is very long. Yesterday, when I made this post, my daughter called and asked if I can come to her place. I said of course. When I went inside, the first thing my daughter did was hug me and said she was sorry for yelling and berating me. She was wrong. She should have handled it like a mature adult. I told her it is fine. I understand why she panicked. She also said James wants to meet me as well. James was in their shared bedroom and asked for privacy. As soon as I went there, he started apologizing and said he didn't mean to make things awkward. He knows he shouldn't have cried like that in front of me, that he is a grown man and should have kept his emotions in check. He says he has never had a major breakdown like this in 3 years. Usually, he is in control of his emotions. I asked him to calm down and I am not mad at him. But then he started telling me his story. It just made me sick to my stomach. Here it is. Back when he was in his final year in college, his mother had died the year before. His dad and mom got married too young because his mother was pregnant. They were both in bad shape. But his dad was even worse than before. He would often visit his dad along with his girlfriend. One day, he found his girlfriend was cheating on him with his dad. I won't go into much details, but you can imagine the mess. His father gave him lame excuses like he was lonely and whatnot. He cut off all the contacts he had with his dad and went on to live with his grandmother. His grandmother did rip his dad a new one and threatened to call the police on him. After that, he went into depression. He skipped his classes and flunked. He went through intense therapy and has managed well on his own. He moved out from his grandmother's state and came closer to us. That poor boy was sobbing while he was telling me this story, but in excruciating details. It almost made me cry. Also, that's not the reason he cried. He cried because few days ago, he received a letter from his grandmother that his dad has committed suicide. He wrote a letter to James. James did read the letter, but he felt nothing. He showed me the letter. It was basically that bastard apologizing and asking for a chance. I got a little gist about what happened after the affair was discovered. His father and that girl was pretty much ostracized by everyone. They lived in a small town, so the word got around. The father's friend basically disowned him. Every relative he had doesn't talk to him. He lost his respect and dignity. He begged his mother to give James's address, but grandmother refused. He couldn't find James because he changed his name. He goes by his maternal grandmother's maiden name. Also, in the letter he mentioned he had liver failure because after he left he drank alcohol. He regrets what he has done and knows he can never take it back. He will always have to carry the guilt. He has thought about suicide a lot of times, but he knows if he dies he has to answer his deceased wife about why he did what he did. Lastly, his dad mentioned he has no contact with that B1TCH because she was the reason why he lost his son. He does acknowledge his own fault, but mostly he blamed that girl because she seduced him. I can't believe even in his death he avoided accountability. James said he wasn't bothered by his death until that day, when I called him son. If it was some other time, he wouldn't have reacted the way he did. It was just the timing. He cried because he knew he lost his father forever. He didn't even go to his funeral because he knew if he did his progress would go down the drain. But he misses having a father. He knows what his dad did was wrong, but they were both pretty close. His dad was his cheerleader. He still couldn't believe his dad would do this to him. He mentioned that if his dad was alive, he probably would have contacted him in the near future, like in 10 or 20 years. But he just both of his parents forever. I apologized to him for triggering something like that. I also told him he is a wonderful man and any man would be proud to have a son like him. It's such a shame his dad threw it all away because he can't control his dick. Sorry, I know this is a dead person, but I have no respect for him. What he did was his and only his fault, and I am proud of him. He has managed very well for himself. He reassured me that even though he has trauma, he never hurt my daughter and really loves her. He said that he has been thinking about asking her hand from me. Now, I would have said yes, but I put some conditions, that he needs to get a psyche evaluation and go to therapy. I know he is a good person, but now he is not in a good headspace. He should take my daughter to couples counseling with him. He accepted them without hesitation. As for my daughter, I did ask her why she kept this huge thing away from me. She said she didn't want me to judge him, that she knows what he went through, and it really hurts her to see him being triggered. She did mention she heard him cry in the bathroom when they first moved in. She loved him and understands that he has PTSD, but according to he is the best guy she has ever dated. I told her I do not care who she dates, be it a truck driver or a billionaire, or someone who is an orphan, as long as the guy is good and treats her well, she has my approval. Sorry, that was long, but it is tough to summarize everything in such short words. Top comment: you did nothing wrong. Your daughter lacks perspective because she is close and knows his issues. You can't avoid landmines if you don't know they're there. I bet he was overwhelmed and didn't know how to process. Keep doing your thing. All you can try is to love them through the trauma.